Okay, hi guys. So my name is Clorama Dorvilias. She did a good job introducing me, but to clarify, just because I do take on I wear a lot of different hats. I am currently a fellow at Code for America. I'm with the economic development team, and I'm in a two-person team who's been partnered with the municipality of Anchorage to deliver a digital solution for connected job seekers to the workforce services. So I do that by day. I'm doing UX research and design on that, pretty much because it's a two-person team, it's product design, and I'm involved in all the stages of that. But then also by night, I am a VR developer, and I've been developing VR games and experiences since late 2015. I just finished Oculus Launchpad, submitted an app, so I've been sleeping last 2 weeks, which has been amazing since that deadline. So what I wanted to talk about was by working in corporate America and doing UX kind of by day, but in the Civic Tech space, I see a lot of opportunities just because I'm kind of also half obsessed with VR, where VR can actually make an impact and make a difference. So in a lot of my daily work, I'm kind of seeing like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting, and I feel like this could bridge some relationships together. It's just kind of been, I've been trying different ways of using VR to deliver on some certain solutions for problem spaces that normally haven't been solved for yet. So kind of wanted to go over some of those ideas with you, talk about a case study, and then talk about the different ways that VR is being utilized in the space right now within government. So first of all, what is Civic Tech? Most people don't know. How many people know what Civic Tech is in this room? Okay, so a little less than half. Civic Tech is technology that enables engagement or participation of the public for stronger development, enhancing citizen communications, improving government infrastructure, and generally improving the public good. So technology that, right now you might have heard of the U.S. digital services. They're attempting to redesign a lot of the government services that we use today. So if you're applying for a visa, if you're going through the DMV, anytime you're filling out something online and having to go through a government process, it's usually very much pretty frustrating. So there's been this new emergence of people trying to tackle that and make it more people friendly. Which I'll go over in a little bit. So where I see VR mostly having an impact in the civic tech space is also the potential for it to close the empathy gap between government and citizens. I think it's hard to debate that there's probably a disconnect right now between citizens and government, a low faith in the institutions, and that has led to interesting situations. But I think VR can help bridge that. Let me tell you kind of like how, how I discovered VR in 2015 was when I saw this video. I was actually looking for, when I did my master's thesis in interaction design, and I was actually looking for a technological solution that would best deliver on developing empathy between people. And in that research, Googling stuff, this came up. How many people have watched this talk, Chris Milks? Yeah, well, really? I would have thought that everyone. Okay, or just not raising their hands. But it's a really good talk, and he talks about one of his first projects was when he created a GoPro contraption, took that to Syria, and followed a little girl named Sidra, and watched her, kind of basically allowed her to tell her story. Has anyone heard of Clouds Over Sidra? Okay, cool. So that, this is, for the rest of you who didn't, Sidra is a little girl that was living in a refugee camp in Syria. So he went to her, had the camera set as if it was the person visiting her. She was able to talk to the person and get them a tour of her house or where she was living inside the refugee camp, and also kind of tour the cameras to what her experiences going to school, what it looked like walking around in the camp, and just basically her whole daily activity. And brought that experience to, he was able to wrap that up, make a 5-minute video, take that to Switzerland and visit the United Nations, and have them share this experience and be immersed in that, where they got to meet Sidra and feel that situation. This had a very powerful impact on them. They were so excited about this technology and being able to connect with the people that they're designing policies for in a way that they haven't felt like before, to the point where they started a whole VR chapter at the United Nations, UN VR, and also they partnered with HEC, Vive, and or Vive, I guess, and and to deliver $10 million to developers, basically who can propose ideas and experiences that would help them deliver on their sustainable development goals. And this was, I think, done last year. So the value that they got from this was they felt that it brought the experiences of vulnerable communities straight to the decision makers. They felt like it brought people's voices, directly onto that table where they were able to have a better understanding to make better, more informed, and more humane decisions about policies they're designing around that would impact the lives of CEDAW. So essentially, United Nations met user experience. And we're excited by it, thanks to PR. So how can we adopt this model to the local level? It's very, I would say, very sexy to focus on suffering in international communities. However, America has this fascination, we're willing to look at that, but we tend to overlook the suffering that happens in our own communities. And so far, I'm just kind of surprised that there hasn't been that much. It's a very, I think, transferable model that could easily have the same impacts locally. The way right now government services are designed is that they're looking at table, they're looking at charts, looking at constraints, resources, and they're looking at their needs, what their concerns are when they're creating this product or creating this service. And as a result, people's needs usually come last. So hence why you'll see a lot of people a little bit more frustrated when they're using government services. This is a Dilbert comic that I really like, where Dilbert's colleague talks about, our goal is to ship 1 million units this quarter. And Dilbert asks him, well, do we have goals that involve making customers happy? His colleague goes, no, I'm talking about our goals, not their goals. And the boss says, yeah, totally different. And it really is. And as a result, they usually kind of fall by the wayside and don't really actually consider when a product is delivered to be used by the public. So people's experience ended up sucking, like really bad. And I think we've all felt at some point, unless you live in an amazing, luckily, like great local government area, most of the time that's not the case. And as a result, because users or people, especially the harder to reach populations who are in poverty, they are frustrated going through this and they'll go to public servants for help. They will be kind of throwing on this like negative energy where the public servants who are at the front lines of delivering this product that was inherited by the people who designed it will have to also be in that space, and as a result users feel like, oh, I don't really think you care about my needs, so nothing really happens, and we just have this like sense that they just don't care, and then Trump becomes president, and so this is the worst case scenario. However, now that we're here, how do we make sure that this doesn't happen again? And to be fair, like in all objectiveness, most people voted for him because they wanted to drain the swamp or blow up the system. That's the dissatisfaction that was felt, and it's a long-term consequence that even though they're not writing at City Hall to like change the way to design their services, it'll manifest in ways like this that can have larger consequences that go silent and unexpectedly kind of take a toll. So these are some legislators in California, a lot of them in San Francisco, maybe some of them are familiar to you. What can we do to connect them to the Cedars of San Francisco? How do we get those stories to their table, these vulnerable communities, when they're deciding how to design public service for them? You see lines like this on a regular basis. I'm the Code for America office next to the Tenderloin, so I'm constantly walking through there to get to my favorite people lounge. But I'm constantly, like, to me, it's third world conditions. Having been to third world countries, there's a lot of similarities that I'm actually really shocked about being in one of the richest or most expensive cities in the United States. And I think this can be really simple in terms of like being able to take that same model that Chris Milk did and introduce ourselves to somebody or ask them if they'd be willing to walk us around what their day looks like, bringing that to their table. I'm just wondering what kind of impact that could have in the policies that are designed around, for example, homelessness. So that way these people don't feel like they need to resort to this to get their needs met. They should be able to rely on government benefits that we're all paying taxes for. So in a lot of the work that we did in Anchorage, we talked to, thank you, We talked to a lot of different public servants who describe users or people who are accessing services, in this case job seekers, as disengaged. They're not showing up to events. When they do come in, they don't come back, they don't return, they're not committed to helping themselves find a solution. So me and my colleague, we went out and looked around and we shadowed and we watched how people were interacting with services. We saw them being extremely frustrated. And what, to our even more surprise, we saw a very disengaged staffing that were interacting with these job seekers. They were either giving the wrong information, they were just kind of apathetic, which actually added to the frustration of job seekers who lost faith that they would get the help that they need. So I always think of this quote: whoever fights the monster should see to it that in the process he does not become a monster. And if you gaze long enough into the abyss will gaze back into you. By Frederick Nietzsche. All the people who are working in public service, these are people who wanted to change the world, they wanted to make a difference, they took that pay cut, they felt like they wanted to do something that was meaningful. Unfortunately, they are handed down something that does not meet the needs of the people that they're trying to serve, and is a very frustrating process. And as the result, they bear the consequences. As the messengers of the services that they're trying to help people access, they get shot a lot, and over time, they wear down. And you have that situation. So how do we use VR to defeat this classical conditioning? We could try and improve the user experience of services by gently reminding providers who've been there for a long time about the human lives that they're working with, the stories, because again, they're interfacing with job seekers who come in and they maybe meet them for 5 minutes. They don't know what that job seeker had to go through that morning, if they're in a domestic abuse situation, if they couldn't get childcare, if they're having a bad day. They don't see that, they just see another frustrated person that they just don't really feel like they're getting paid enough to have to try to address. So what would like a regular experience of them actually getting to follow someone to make them, to kind of feed their compassion over the long term? How do we convince government that user experience is a vital and beneficial element in delivering services and delivering products? Because right now it's not a priority. However, again, it has silent consequences that can go unaddressed, have larger consequences on the impact of the government structure at the end of the day, because we are a democracy and that's just how karma cause and effect works. And I think VR, the element of it being kind of a fun experience, helps warm them up. Lastly, how do we burst the government stakeholder bubble? A lot of stakeholders and people who are in these leadership positions usually mingle with each other day in, day out. They're not mingling with the people that they're serving day in, day out. As a result, the language that they start speaking becomes a little bit different. The culture, the norms are different. So when it comes time to start thinking about the people they're serving, they kind of just get more and more disconnected. And there's no way of, and so it leads to a lot of these same kind of consequences. I think VR can do that through immersive user journeys. We have user journeys. As UXers, we're used to the process. We're okay with 2D because we kind of already understand the empathy component of it. But for government stakeholders who are not into this process, having them be immersed into it, bringing them into it without taking them out of their comfort zone or having for them to worry about their safety, something like, because we want to share experience. Very simply, like low cost, having a 360 camera, a cheap phone, Android that you can get on Craigslist, and a cardboard, upload to Google, and you can give them that immersive user journey experience, similar to what Cloud WCDR was, in a very accessible way. So I was going to talk about some emerging use cases, but I'm running out of time. I have like less than a minute. However, maybe come tweet at me or I'll tweet out. I have a YouTube channel where we did try and do a lot of these things in our line of work or our fellowship, where we followed a nonprofit and saw how they served their users. And also use it for user testing, where we had our government stakeholders actually sit in on that user testing using a cardboard, and we loved it, went crazy over it. And that's that right there. This is an older slide, but yeah. So I'll just go ahead and say thank you, but I'll post the new emerging use cases with Oculus partnering with public libraries and New York City investing $50 million in VR for their economic development goals. And so thank you, and those are just some ways I think that VR can close the loop.